Hi everyone, how are you doing today? I'm Nikki from the design team, and today we're going to go over this precious butterfly card. I will link everything that you need for this card in the description. Make sure if you haven't done it yet that you hit the subscribe and like button for Kat Scrappiness. Let's start with that fun Fluttering By stamp set. We're going to use some frames, and we're going to use an older set called Friendship Greetings for our hello in the middle of the card. And then what is a Kat Scrappiness card without some amazing embellishments? So we're going to use a rainbow of embellishments on our cute little butterflies. When I saw these butterflies, I knew I needed a pastel rainbow. I don't know what you think about rainbows, but I love seeing a card with a set of rainbows on it. So this is going to be a pastel rainbow of butterflies. And I wasn't quite sure how many butterflies I was going to use. I ended up only using the large one, but I wanted to create really nice pastel colors. So I'm using an ink blending brush to apply the ink to my stamp. This gives me a little bit more control, and I can make areas darker or lighter with this, and I really love how beautiful this looks. They almost look like they're watercolored or ink blended instead of just stamped. I love that difference there. So I'm going to take you through a couple of the colors that I do this way, and I will list them out. The first one, the pink, is a Catherine Pooler ink called It's a Girl. I'm not going to go through all the ink blending because all of them are the same except doing different colors, but I will tell you that all of these colors are in the Catherine Pooler Party Collection Spring Fling. It's a Girl, Bellini, Melon Ice, It's a Boy, and Sweet 16. So all of these colors, especially when lightly done like this, really match the pearls that I use, and I'll show you those pearls towards the end of the video. So I love how these turned out. Now I'm going to die cut the big butterfly from each of these, and I'm going to die cut out of vellum that same shape. I just really like with the vellum how much dimension it gives these, and so I'm going to fold up the vellum a little bit, and I'm going to stamp on the vellum. So we're going to use that as a little extra bonus on top of these. So right here I'm showing you the swatch that I did of stamping on vellum directly with those ink pads, and it's gonna look great. I can't wait. So this set also has dies. I'm going to use some of these wire clippers, clip them apart, and I'm going to cut out the large butterfly from all these colors. I think the purple is my favorite. I'm just going to line it up, cut it out, and here's what they look like. So originally I thought, well, I'll just put the vellum over the top and add some matching pearls. These pearls are going to match our pink great. But I realized that I wanted to actually stamp on the vellum. So I decided that I would take the vellum pieces and actually add some details, because that stamp set does come with different layers of stamping. So you can use that stamp set to add some extra dimension. You could have heat embossed it, all kinds of things, but I'm just going to stamp it in the coordinating ink. This large butterfly actually has two different stamps that can go on top of it, but I'm just going to use this large one that does the outline of the wings. I just kind of liked it better. I could have added more, but I thought with my jewels or my pearls in the middle that this would be a good idea. Now I've already cut out my vellum, so I've got myself a sticky mat here that I've put the vellum on, and then I'm lining up my stamp. I'm using the same color that I'm going to do as my background of this vellum, and I'm doing it directly onto the stamp, which is also going to make it a darker shade of that color. And then I'm going to stamp it on the vellum. Whenever you are stamping on vellum, you need to test your ink on vellum first and just make sure that it dries and does not smear. Since vellum is more of a plasticky type texture, it doesn't hold the ink the same way that paper does. So with this, I used the Catherine Pooler inks again, and they were very wet. That's why I'm not touching that area. But they dried in probably an hour. I may have given them 2 hours, and they didn't smear after that. Now I've got these dry. You can tell the difference. It looks dry. And look what it looks like with that pink behind it. It's subtle, but it's so cute. But I want to be able to see my pink behind it, so I'm going to use the pencil bone folder that Kat has, and I'm going to fold these wings up and kind of curl them around a little bit. Vellum does hold shape. It doesn't hold it you know, to an extreme amount, but you see that I can bend up those wings and it doesn't leave any crinkles or creases in it when I'm using this bone folder. Okay, so now we've got to decide what size embellishments we're going to put on this vellum, and I'm going to glue it to the vellum, which if you've used vellum, you know can be tricky. So I'm going to use a fine point and I'm going to use matte medium as my glue. These little pearls come in I think 3 to 4 different sizes, so I'm just going to kind of look at the sizes and decide how big I want that element. I end up going for kind of the medium size because it filled up the space, and I kind of like the idea of just having 3 of them there. So I use those, and then I'm going to glue them on with that fine tip added to my matte medium glue. That glue dries matte, hence the name, and that is very helpful when you're using it on vellum. The other helpful hint I will give you is it's really nice to have one like a grid mat like this, because I can look at those embellishments and make sure I'm putting them directly in line with each other without having to use a ruler, because I can see the grids between and I know that I'm putting basically one embellishment per square and I can line them up pretty easily. So just something when you're using vellum, it's nice because it's see-through, so that really helps you out even more. The other reason I put these embellishments on the butterflies, besides the fact that they just look adorable, is you need somewhere where you're going to glue your vellum down to hide it. So I'm going to use that little fine point and I'm hiding it behind my embellishments. If you don't do this, even with the matte glue, you still may see where you've glued your item down. So vellum is tricky in that way, and you want to kind of plan ahead like I did here to have some way that you're going to be able to glue this vellum down to the rest of the butterfly. Now for the background, I didn't want to do anything too crazy, but I wanted to have some of the matching colors because I think that looks really cool with splatter. So I used an acrylic block, I'd stamped my ink on there, and then now I'm going to drop this on to the background. So I'm doing this in all the colors. The orange definitely shows up better than the rest of the colors, but I did use the pinks and the blues in this, and maybe in your picture, in my picture, you'll be able to see it a little bit better. I am always experimenting with splatter and what makes the best splatter. I've had several recommendations to use a fan brush, and they are great for very fine splatter. But when I'm trying to make these bigger dots of splatter, I really need a bigger brush, and using a water brush is nice just because you can get the color of it out of it really fast. Like I'm using a paper towel now and I'm squeezing that color out onto there, and then I can go and add the water to the acrylic block and then use that again as my splatter. Sometimes I'll use a spray brush to do that, but you see I've gotten all that color out and I'm using the exact same brush, and then I can go and do my splatter. I decided to use a simple sentiment in here, and I picked this one because it fit perfectly with all my little butterflies around it, but I also just really like hello cards. I feel like they could say on the inside, hello, happy birthday. You have a lot of options with them, which is really nice. I'm heating this up. Notice all those fun splatters. I love this background. So just really fun background, very easy. Got the hello set up, and now we're going to put our butterflies on. I'm adding one of the new A2 frames on here, and I just picked a gold in my stash that looked as close to my embossing powder as I had, and I'm using matte medium again. I don't have the super fine tip on, but I don't need it for this, and the reason is because, like I said, it dries matte, and I'm about to put a gold piece on here. It's probably better to not use liquid adhesive if you are messy at all with gold, because it will get on your frame from your hands and just can kind of squish out on your frame, which can cause trouble. So I'm being very careful with it here. Now, how to arrange my butterflies. I have this piece of grid acetate that I use for things like this so that I can line up my card really well. I want some of my butterflies to be below and, just have a lot of dimension to them. So once I get them the way that I want them, I'm going to use a piece of press and seal, and I'm going to pick it up. And the reason I'm going to do that is so that I can keep this exactly how it is. This works well for flower arrangements, things that you've gotten to that really need to be pretty exact to look right on the card. And so press and seal is not super sticky. It won't mess up your card front, but it will usually pick up your pieces. Sometimes I have to add. Now I can go, and whichever piece is going to be stuck to the bottom, I can go ahead and add glue to 2 of the pieces. I don't know if you can tell, but I have 2 that are kind of on the bottom. So I can add glue, press them down, pick the whole thing back up again with the sticky stuff, and it works great to get your alignment right. So let me show you how I did that. So now these 3 are going to be higher than those bottom 2. So since they're higher, I'm going to need to add some foam tape. So I'm going to carefully add foam tape. I'm going to start with the one in the right corner because it's a little bit below another one. And I'm going to put it down, and then we're going to kind of slowly go through and just make sure everything works the way that it's supposed to. So I got the blue one down. Now I just need to do these last 2. And what's nice about this press and seal is that if I'm a little bit off, I can kind of adjust, and I don't have to use it exactly like it is. I can make sure I've got things. You see I moved it over just a little bit. If it was just slightly off, I can fix it, which is nice. So anyway, this card, I just love how it turned out. I'm going to kind of zoom in close and show you some final pictures. Make sure that if you haven't done it yet, that you hit the like and subscribe button to the Kat Scrappiness channel, and go through the link in the description for all of the products I used today. Those help support me, and I appreciate it so much. So have a great day, everybody. Happy crafting. Bye.